All right, let's go over my top 10 receivers right now. I want to preface, I'm going to go over how I grade them at the end of the video. You have to watch to the end of the video if you want to see how I grade them. I do like longevity. Like, that's like a thing you'll probably figure out like how I'm grading them, and you can disagree with it. Like, I might genuinely be wrong. I got some I wouldn't say I have like spicy hot takes, but I have some guys in there who are not quite there. Also, my honorable mentions, you're probably going to be like, okay, this guy's in the honorable mentions. Yeah, his list is cooked. But I like proven stats. So you'll see, watch the end of the video, and I'll go over like how I looked at it. But either way, let's get into my top 10, and let's get into the honorable mentions. All right, before we get into the true honorable mentions, I want to honorable mention the Texans and Packers receiver. I have one Texans receiver on this list. You can watch the video and figure out who that is. But between some of those guys, like, I don't know who's going to actually break out. So, like, if I say I have Tank Dell on the list, he could be bad, and then Nico Collins could be the guy who's actually top 10. I don't know. I don't know exactly who is. I do have one Texans receiver on the list, on the genuine list. And then for the Packers, it's the same thing. Like, Christian Watson could be the guy. It could be Jalen Reed could be the guy. Dontavian Wicks could be the guy. Romeo Doubs could be the guy. Like, there's four guys. There's someone else who had a really good year too. Bo Melton. I mean, I don't think he's going to be the guy, but he's also very good. Like, I just don't want to predict a random receiver on those two teams to, like, be that guy, especially when I like to look at proven talent. Like I said before, like, I like to look at stats, and then even the I do like the eye test, but you have to be wary of both stats and eye test. So, all right, either way, let's get into the actual honorable mentions in a second. All right, let's go to the brief, like, pre-honorable mentions. There's another three that I have that are closer, but these guys are all just not quite top 10. DeAndre Hopkins, he's just getting older. He was top 10 at one point, just not quite anymore. Jalen Waddle still has Tyreek ahead of him. Same with Schmitty. They just haven't quite broken through that threshold. They're close. Drake London has to prove it, along with Garrett Wilson, and Scary Terry just can't quite ascend. I think he'll stay around this tier his whole career, unless he gets a really good quarterback. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. is just a rookie, but I really believe in him. All right, the true honorable mentions, these guys could switch into the number 10 if you really wanted to. But either way, Ayuk not quite making the list. He had a very good year last year. I just want to see one more good year of him. Amari Cooper is just getting older. I don't think he ever really has been true top 5 to 10, but it's close. He's hovered around it, just like Scary Terry. But and then DJ Moore, very good year last year. I need one more great year from him, and he has to show a dominant season. But let's get into the real list. Rounding out the list, we have number 10, DK Metcalf, a freak of an athlete. He's height, weight, speed, 6'3", 6'4", 220, 330 pounds, runs a 4.3 40. Yeah, only weakness he has is his route running. And outside of that, catching in every aspect is fantastic. All right, we have a tier up here. These guys are very good in the past, but they're probably going to start declining. All right, maybe surprise, you guys probably have already dropped them out of your top 10, but I still do believe in Stephon Diggs. He had a great first half of his year. He did trail off the end, though. So is he getting older? Is the regression coming up? Still has very good stats to back up his career. I believe he will be the number one for at least the first half of this year. We will see. There's only 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards in your season. But yeah, either way, I have him at my 8th ranked receiver. Very, very reliable. Him and Davante Adams have identical stats over the course of the career. He has not quite as many highs. He does have that 1,500-yard season. But either way, absolutely reliable. Number 7, we have Davante Adams. Never was a speed threat, but I do believe he's lost another step. He ran a 4.5 40. I think he played around a 4.48 or so, 4.44. He's probably around a 4.55 at this point. But either way, his route running is so good, he is still in this tier. Also, his production has been fantastic, so easily top 7. Rounding out this tier, we actually have some upside. Those past couple guys were downside, but Amon-Ra quite doesn't have the stats of those guys. He doesn't average quite as many touchdowns and not quite as much yards, but either way, I think going into the future, he will put up numbers. Very great route runner, very good in the slot, and I think he can play outside a little bit too. Absolute monster. All right, another tier up for me. These guys are starting to put up some ridiculous numbers, but let's get into it. Jamar Chase is an absolute monster. Put up some monster numbers. He's been a little bit hurt, or Burrow's been hurt, hinders his production. His production isn't there. That's why he's not up in that CD Lamb tier, or even the Tyreek Justin Jefferson tier. He can get there. I do believe he can get up at least a couple tiers. I don't know if he can go up placements, though, because the guys ahead of him are better, but I do believe he can jump tiers. At number 4, we have A.J. Brown, an absolute beast of a man, a fantastic ball winner and run after catch guy. I do believe he's capped at this 4 to 5 range. I do think Ja'Marr Chase has a chance of beating him in this overall ranking, but overall he is a monster. Even if his route running isn't great, he still has good routes. He's a freak. Another tier jump. This guy's a monster. I just think the other guys ahead of him are just even more ridiculous. At number 3, we have CeeDee Lamb. If he puts up another year of 1,400 plus, he'll be in the next tier. I just want to see one more before he gets into that next tier. But either way, look at the stats. They're just absurd, which is even crazier that there's guys ahead of him. He could be the number 1 receiver in the league, depending on the year. But monster player. You guys know who are in the next tier. The stats they've put up are just crazy. Let's just get into it. All right, number 2, we have Tyreek Hill. He's only at the number 2 spot because I think he's older and he has a chance of regressing at some point. But either way, that's speed. Oh my God, he was great in Kansas City, and then he comes to Miami and just puts up 2 back-to-back 1,800-yard seasons, and his touchdown numbers are good. Yeah, there's no covering him. He's uncoverable. All right, let's buckle in for a minute. We're going to be talking about some Jay Jettis at number 1. I believe he's the best receiver now, but if you wanted to switch him for this year, maybe the year after with Tyreek, sure. I disagree with you, but I wouldn't demify you, But overall, in the course of the entire NFL, he is number 1 in my book. Going forward, projected, and again, like I said, you could argue him now. The 1,400 yards per year is what his average is. Yeah, that's more than anybody on this list by 150 yards a year. Tyreek was 12.5, and he's 14 point something. That's absurd to me. His touchdown numbers are 7.5 per year, which is about average for the rest of the group here. I do believe this past year he just got hurt. Oh my God. If you took out this outlier year, he's putting up 1,600 yards per year. So if you just do a quick little math adjustment of constant 1,400 yards years for 12 years, which is what he's on pace for, that's not barring health. I don't think that's a problem at all for Justin Jefferson. That puts him at 18,000 yards in the 12-year career. That's close to Jerry Rice level, and Jerry Rice played for 20 years. And Justin Jefferson could hit around those numbers in 12 at this rate. The touchdowns, I don't know if they'll ever be absurd numbers, but he will get touchdowns. Him and Patrick Mahomes, they're the best in their position of all time almost already. Now, Jettis doesn't have quite as much accolades as Mahomes, so people don't put him up there. But statistically wise, he's getting there very quickly. Mahomes already has some of the numbers, he's close for some of the numbers, but the acolytes for Mahomes has been absurd. You just give Justin Jefferson a good team for 2-3 years, and he's already there. I am truly that high on him. That's how good of a player I think he is. But either way, that's my top 10. All right, that's my top 10. Now I want to clarify where my views are from, how I graded it. I saw a little bit at the beginning of the video. I kind of give you a little overview of how I graded it, but I want to get a little bit deeper for the people who disagree with me entirely and are still here. Most of those people are already gone, but for people who care and actually want to hear other people's opinions on it, I like longevity. Mike Evans might not be in anybody else's top 10, or at least not. And if he is, he's a thrown in there at number 10. Same with guys like Stephon Diggs. He might not even be in people's top 10. Some of these guys just aren't going to be there. I like the longevity. Stephon Diggs got his problems off the field, but even so, I think he's a great receiver, and he's proven it over course of time. I like proven things. Now, Amon-Ra, who's higher than those guys slightly, he's in the same tier, but I do have him higher than them, I'm projecting. Right this second, statistically, I would rather have those guys. Last year, knowing what I know now, I would have rather had those guys last year than Amon-Ra last year. Now, going into this year, I think Amon-Ra's better because those guys are getting older. But, alas. Now, my opinion isn't always correct. And also my Justin Jefferson take, that's a hot take because, everyone knows he's great and everyone thinks he's the 1 or 2 likely. Most people think that. At least I think most people think that. I think he's even better than that. I can understand if you argue with that. But I just wanted to give you my top 10. Those are my top 10. DK Metcalf as well. It's a little bit of a projection, but he has better stats than Ayuk, better stats than Cooper, better stats than who else did I have down there? I don't know. Either way, he had better stats than everyone behind him. Plus, I think he does you do see the eye test. He's huge. So, like, maybe people overrate him, underrate him. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think and if you disagree with my way of looking at the receiver position. But I don't know. I like a good debate. That's my top 10. Let me know what you think.